Hey everyone, this is Juma Gonzalez. I am recording to you with my webcam, so now you guys can see me. This is my portfolio page. I hope you guys like what I did with it. A little bit I just added on to my other page from my last class. So it's kind of half and half. But I did do some editing and other stuff, so it's updated. So, first of all, a little bit about me. I am a sophomore at the university. I have a major in education and a minor in kinesiology. I'm very passionate about children, and I want to help children develop a growth mindset. I found this passion when I was first working for 24-Hour Fitness in the Kids Club. I loved the kids there. It was great. I was working with all different types of ages. It really pulled out my passion for them. I never really thought how much I loved kids, and so I actually started working with them. And, at first I was just watching them, and then I would help them do homework, and then I would play with them, and really get them involved with other activities in the kids club. So it was really cool to start doing that. My aspiration as a teacher is to help students raise their hand in the classroom without the fear of being judged. And I feel like fear is a big problem in classrooms now. It's really hard. I transitioned a lot as a kid, learning how to not be afraid and to be open and to raise my hand and want to learn and all of that. And a little bit more about me, I run track and field. I do the heptathlon, which is 7 events. So I run, jump, throw, hurdles, everything. I try to take that approach to life, everything. I try to be really determined and hardworking. Currently, I am doing sales and personal training. So I do have some little tips and tricks if you ever need one. A little bit more about me. I want to be a multi-subject 3rd and 4th grader teacher. Third or fourth, either one works. I also want to go into coaching. That's what my minor is in kines. So I hope you guys like my portfolio page. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip to the important parts of my page. So this is my education philosophy, which is based off what the world needs or believes children should be taught inside the classroom. My education philosophy will be driven from diversity, creativity, and collaboration. Each of my students will understand and respect the culture that each of them holds, so I really want students to be able to work together no matter what their race, identity, or however they feel that they are. I want them to be able to work together. I want each child to be able to express themselves through creativity, because nowadays children have a hard time expressing and talking about their feelings. I will incorporate activities that will require them to work together but also have individual work. So I want students to work together, but I also want them to be able to do it on their own, because I want them to show me that they're actually learning something. I feel like teamwork is really important to develop. It's a skill that you have to learn, because nowadays you have to work with people. No matter what you decide to do, you have to work with people. And doing sports over my 4 years, I've learned that working with different groups and learning how to work with everybody is the best solution, because you're never gonna be like, oh, I can't work with this person. You'll be able to work with everyone. And I want my students to recognize that and work with that. When students bond inside the classroom, it builds a relationship for them outside the classroom, hopefully leading to more friendships and less bullying. So hopefully by allowing them to collaborate with each other and work with each other and get to know each other a little bit more, that will carry outside the classroom. So, hopefully leading to less problems like bullying, all the other bad stuff that comes with being young. They won't learn not to only respect each other's ideas, but build off of them as well. So that's my goal as a teacher, is to help students understand that you have to respect each other, not only physically, but emotionally as well. That's That means not insulting each other, helping each other, encouraging each other, all of that stuff. And I want them to be able to build off each other's ideas instead of, tearing them down. So throughout my years, I realized kids are becoming less motivated to be in the class because they do not recognize how the material will eventually help them later on in life. Any subject can be a difficult subject for many children because they do not learn it right away and they feel like they never will. So how many of you say that you're really bad in one subject? And it can be any subject. Like for me, I'm really bad in math. And, it's not because I feel like, I'll never learn it. Just kidding, that's how I feel. I really try my best to learn it. But, once we have that mindset, it's probably never going to leave us. Like, I've always been bad at math. Like, So I really don't want my children to feel, or my students, I should say. I really don't want my students to feel like, oh, I'm bad at this subject. No. You can learn this subject, once you teach them that at an early age, and they'll never feel like they're bad at a subject. I will help children understand their dreams and establish ways to accomplish them. So if a student wants to be an astronaut, I'll be like, okay, so this is what you have to do to be an astronaut, just providing those resources and, being a cheerer for them, I guess, like a cheerleader. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's never going to happen. No, like, I really want to encourage my students, even if it means, encouraging them in such a way where, like, they're ready to be an astronaut right now. I can get them started. I feel like it's a great way to do it because, you're never tearing down your students. You're always going to build them up. I will do a basic overview of what is happening in the world today so they will be able to understand how their decisions impact the world. So I really want students to understand, I really want to tie in the real world with the classroom. I want students to know that the real world is something real. Like, I want them to know that they're not just sitting in a classroom learning nothing, that this is something that they're going to carry on for the rest of their lives, and they're going to use it outside the classrooms as well. So most children are focused on their tablet rather than what's inside a book, and I want them to be able to understand the value of life beyond a screen by creating activities that require them to think on their own. So most of you can pull up a calculator and do a math problem. And, I agree that technology is very useful, but I want students to also realize that there's other things to use besides technology. But I do believe in using technology. I completely agree that it's very useful and helpful. So I think as teachers, we are the biggest impacts in their lives outside of their parents, and we need to stress the little factors of diversity, creativity, and collaboration. And I just want learning to be something children look forward to every day instead of it being a chore. So I want students to be excited when they walk into the classroom ready to learn, and I want them to carry that on through their education journey, which is really hard to do. Because, it's hard to continuing to go to school for 20 plus years of your life. Hooray! But, hopefully if we start them young in that sense, then maybe they'll be able to do it. This is my Stars and Wishes. I made it into a kind of a poem format, so I'll go ahead and read it to you guys. It was a long process trying to get through every math class. I was alone, and I would give a teacher a tone, acting out because I was approaching failure. Well, just about every class, feeling misunderstood and unspoken, but there was no teachers to listen. Every night I would go home to stare at these problems for hours, and it didn't help that my stepmom was sour. I tried my best every day, but most of the time I was trying to find a way out of this place, the place of fear. At the time I was dazed and out of space, because I knew I could take my own pace. I guess these teachers did not consider the stuff I was going through when I wasn't in the classroom. The only thing they read was my file, the red dot that placed me as the bad child. But I was not a quitter. My grandmother had taught me better. With love and support she raised me. When I was grown, I realized what I can accomplish. I finally bloomed when I hit high school. For basketball, I would even make the local newsletter. But before I had to stand up to one math teacher. She would shut me down and would not accept the work that took me many hours. So my first semester in high school, I failed pre-algebra. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I was young all over. Even the school counselor wouldn't listen. But I was able to have a new teacher. I was able to learn. I finally seen A's on my exams. I would voluntarily raise my hand. It was my big academic return. No longer I felt like an outcast. Every math class I would pass. All he did was ask. He asked what he could do. That made me want to do better too. It was the first connection I had with the teacher. He inspired my fire and desire. And used it so I could go higher. He was not the only one. I had other teachers do the same, but he deserved the fame. This is all I want to do, make learning easier and fun, considering the outside problems within all, because in reality each child has life outside the walls. They're not always sure how to call. It is the only way they can acquire a truth growth mindset where they don't feel a threat to raise their hand inside a classroom. So I hope you guys liked it. Pretty much it was about my life and how I struggled with math and how I felt like I was just being shut down by every teacher. And this one teacher comes along and he just shows me that, I can accomplish anything. And I'm really smart. And, just by participating and trying and doing all that stuff that I can get an A in math class. And, I want to be able to do that. And I also want to emphasize that most teachers do not consider the life that students have outside of the classroom, and it is hard to go to school every day when you have stuff going on at home and trying to focus in the classroom when you're worried about, that stuff that's going on at home. And I really want to connect with my students and emphasize that. So this was my teacher interview. I went to San Jose Elementary School. I conducted my interview with a third grade teacher, Mrs. Tran, and she's been teaching at elementary school for 5 years now. She teaches third grade, and I really enjoyed her lessons and everything, sitting there and watching all the kids. They were super excited, always raising their hand, always begging her to answer it, to call on them. It was awesome. So this is just all her answers to the questions, and she also has a little online portfolio on there, but she has helpful resources on there as well. This is my math units, and pretty much I made 4 stations with 4 lesson plans, and I built them out so students can work on them, and they're really quick but really fun. So the grade or lesson, they just go through all of that. And then, they're clickable on so you can follow them. And then this is the literature-based lesson. So I really tried to connect this book with, a math plan where students learn how to count. And it was really cool because it was definitely out of the grade I wanted to teach. But it was nice to work with it and try and learn how students have to learn in order to work like that. And then this is a video of my math problem analysis. I was really cool to see all the kids. I had 2 kids answer. It was cool to see how they answered it, and some of them really tried to write out their work for me. And you can see, they really did try. And so it was really nice to see. And then this is a project I did in another class, and it's just about technology in schools. And then there's some other stuff up there too about some other work I did in my portfolio. You just have to click around and stuff. But this is another way. This is something else I did in another classroom. I thought it was really well done. We talked about how important technology is and everything. I'm sorry to wrap it up so short. I'm running on 15 minutes, and that's all Screencast does. So I hope you guys liked my portfolio. Thank you for a great semester, and I hope you guys have a good summer, and the good rest of your years.